Hi, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Heather,
And I'm Taya.
and today we're doing a really fun get to know me episode. So, this is going to be split into our first episode, it's going to be get to know Taya, and our second is going to be get to know me. So, yeah, this is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Are you looking forward to this? Are you nervous?
I am excited. We prepped questions for each other and we don't necessarily know what we're going to ask each other. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see and touch nervous, but we'll see what kind of
Yeah.
questions you throw at me.
No, they're all good.
Okay.
They will all make you look really good.
Oh gosh. Okay. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So Taya has had, I feel like, an adventurous life. She's lived on a boat in the Caribbean. She has lived in Ecuador for a few months. So we're gonna dive into that, but also do like just some fun get to know you questions.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start out with some easy ones, just some like frilly questions. What's your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Probably Friends.
Really?
Like it's not even a guilty pleasure.
I know.
I never get tired of it. Like I never turn it on and I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh, skip this episode. Like
Right.
it used to be Gilmore Girls, and then I realized like it stresses me out. Like they're fighting so much, and um, I know I loved it. I loved it in my past. It just is too much for me right now. So yeah,
Gotcha.
it's probably Friends or Schitt's Creek.
Are there any reality TV shows that you watch?
Yeah. Okay. I loved Top Model, although that did not
Okay.
age well.
No.
Love is Blind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on the Bachelor bandwagon just because I never
No.
got on it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, like MasterChef. I used to be really into
Yes.
MasterChef.
Oh, I
The
love
problem is
MasterChef.
we don't subscribe to a bunch of like
Oh, that's right.
channels.
Yeah.
And so there's like certain shows that I can and can't watch.
Yeah.
So it kind of dictates what I am into. But
I'm
yeah.
the worst. I'm a sucker. I'm subscribed to all of them.
I know.
Okay. What is currently on hold on your Libby account? Pull up
Okay.
your phone. Pull up your phone.
Okay, that's a good one. I can tell you it's going to be a bunch of fantasy books or it's going to be a bunch of um, suspense books, like thrillers. All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. Um, Born of Blood and Ash from the Blood and Ash series. Trial of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Sun Queen, Throne of the Fallen, The Bridge Kingdom, and Kingdom of the Fears. So yeah, a bunch of
All fantasy. I love it. Good. Okay. This one I gave you time to think about.
Mhm.
Who's your favorite comedian and what's your favorite joke they do?
So I think favorite comedian is kind of tied. I really like Nate Bargatze
Mhm.
and Tom Papa also cracks me up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's just like they're both solid. I
Mhm.
used to love Jim Gaffigan, but then I feel like he just recycled jokes and Brian Regan got like, I don't know.
Old.
Yeah, he
Have
got
you seen
old.
him? He looks so old.
Does
I
he?
still
Oh,
love him though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I think one of my favorite comedian jokes has got to be Gary Goldman, and he does a bit about Hitler's shenanigans. And it makes me laugh every single time. I like
Yes.
please go look it up. Gary Goldman, Hitler's shenanigans.
He's Jewish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I
he's
know
so
him.
funny. He's New York. He
Yeah.
is, yeah, like that bit of his gets me. But honestly, I was going back and looking at Nate Bargatze's skits and his one about weights and measurements that he did on SNL.
Hmm.
Like just the way he hits the punchlines
Yeah.
cracks me up. It kills me. And we saw
He's
him
so good.
live and he was even better live.
Yeah.
Like he did not disappoint and his openers were amazing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of his.
Oh my gosh. And Nate Bargatze, his skit on like the American Revolution on
Yes.
SNL, just comedy
Mhm.
gold.
Yes.
So good. Okay. Let's get into when you went to the Caribbean and lived on a boat. It's
Okay.
freaking awesome. So, how old were you when you went?
I was 15 when we bought the boat.
Okay. And how did you get there? Like, what?
A series of events. Okay, so backstory. My dad went to the Caribbean, or no, went to the South Pacific on a boat with his parents or his dad when he was a teenager, and it like changed his life. He grew up in Southern California, and going and seeing how different cultures lived was really important to him. And so he always knew he wanted to do it with his family. So fast forward, he has 4 kids now, and my oldest sister left home and he decided time was slipping away and he wanted to do it now. So we sold everything. We bought a boat that was similar to Captain Ron, where it was a rough boat. It was like they had turned it into like basically a dock condo where they had like beveled mirrors and they had painted all of the beautiful wood on the inside, and there
Oh,
was um like velvet like velvet corduroy upholstery on everything. Like
oh
it was
God.
not a working boat. So we bought it in Florida in I think it was like Cocoa Beach, Florida. And so we went down there and spent 3 months in the shipyard fixing it up. So before, I mean, the boat was even not even in the water.
Hmm.
And we did everything, stripped teak and epoxied and I don't know, did everything.
Hmm.
Then we launched it and we spent 3 months in the Bahamas. But by that time, we had spent so long in the shipyard, it's similar to like when you're doing a project on your house and you're like, it'll take 2 weeks. Like, it'll just
Yeah.
take 2 weeks. Everything,
Okay.
no, no, everything took way longer. So we spent 3 months in the Bahamas and that was kind of like a shakedown cruise. And we learned some stuff. Like we broke down in the middle of the crossing from Florida to the Bahamas, and like you have to time all these
Gee.
things. So we left at like midnight, and I don't even know how far across we got. And then our we had dirty fuel, so the engine seized, and so
Oh
we had
no.
to like go back to Florida under sail. We had no power, and yeah, so then we had to get all that fixed. Um, and then yeah, so we ended up spending 3.5 years on the boat, but that's how we got
Dang.
there.
Oh my gosh, I didn't actually know it was that long.
It was my
Wow.
entire high school.
Okay.
hmm
So were you in school at this time, like doing homeschooling, or you just skipped it?
Well,
Should
um,
we not say for CPS service?
I was supposed to be homeschooling, but it was like dumb to me to sit there and read about like science when I
Hmm.
could go snorkel and see science. And
True.
like, so I was getting more of a real world education than I was
Yeah.
ever reading a book. So there's like a picture of me doing a math project in a book, and that's the last thing I ever did. So I basically dropped out when I was 15. I think seventh grade is the last grade I completed 100%.
Okay, like in actual school.
hmm
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how were your living quarters? You shared a room with your sister?
Yeah. So it was a 46-foot sailboat with the cockpit in the center. And so my parents had the back of the boat called the aft cabin, which the people before us had installed a bathtub in the bathroom back there. So that was funky. So they they lived back there. And then my brother lived in um, basically the dining room, like right next to our couch and dining room. He lived there. And then my sister and I had the front of the boat called the V berth. She slept on one side of the V, I slept on the other side. And yeah, all of our clothes had to fit in like two hammocks on the side
Good.
of our bunks, and we
Hmm.
had a little bathroom with just I mean, in a boat the whole bathroom can turn into a shower. So
Yeah.
we did technically have a shower, but we always showered in the bathtub because it was cleaner. And then your whole bathroom isn't wet.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that was it.
Cool.
hmm
So what islands did you go to? And now remember, we don't have all day. I know I asked you this question one time and your answer was it'd be easier if I told you what islands we didn't go to.
hmm Yeah. So if you can picture like the Caribbean, we were on the Eastern Caribbean, so like the chain of islands, so not Mexico side.
Okay.
So we basically went from Florida down the Bahamas to the DR, and then around to all those islands as far south as Grenada, which is not quite to South America.
Okay.
So all in all, it was 18 countries, 18 sovereign countries,
Hmm.
but it was way more islands than that because some countries have more than one island, but
Yeah.
18 islands.
Cool. And how long would you guys stay at each island?
Totally depends. So some like Turks and Caicos, we were there for like I don't know a night or two,
Hmm.
and then other St. Thomas, we lived for an entire year,
Oh
and then
wow.
yeah, so
Cool.
um, so it depends. We spent a lot of time in Grenada because we were hiding out from a hurricane, the hurricane season,
Uh-huh.
and it was safer there. So we spent I don't know 5 months, 6 months, maybe not that long, but a good chunk of time in
Hmm.
Grenada, and then we kind of hopped around the southern Caribbean for quite a bit.
Okay. Do you have a
But
favorite island?
yeah, Bequia and the Grenadines. So again, in the Southern Caribbean, they're small and they're untouched and they're that quintessential like fake looking water, and the snorkeling's fantastic. And the culture, like Bequia is a really small island, and they've done a really good job of maintaining it. So it has all the beautiful culture, but it's well maintained, if that makes sense.
So I should Google Beckway. I've never heard
Bequia,
of
yeah,
it.
Bequia.
Oh,
Interesting fact too, they still have rights. They did when I was there, so gosh, 20 plus years ago. They have rights to harvesting one whale a year. And so the locals go out and harpoon a whale, and then they clean it, and they like
wow.
brine it. Yeah, it's a
Did you
delicacy.
eat whale?
Mm-hmm.
How
Don't
was it?
recommend it. Don't
Chicken?
recommend
No?
it. No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, good
It's
to
like
know.
fatty and blubbery and
Oh God.
not my jam. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've seen a lot of gorgeous beaches.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite beach?
Let's see, I think it's Princess Margaret Beach is on Bequia, and that's a pretty good one. And this is like an embarrassing thing to admit. I don't remember a lot of the names of places because it
Yeah.
wasn't my job to know, right? Like Dad
Right,
was the
yeah.
captain. Dad
Mm-hmm.
took us all everywhere.
Yeah.
But there was one in the Bahamas that was where Aaliyah's plane crashed. Yeah, it was a great beach though. Um, and it was like voted National Geographic's like top 10 beaches
Beach of the year, yeah.
in 2002 or something. And yeah, I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's a gorgeous beach.
Do you know what island it's on?
No.
I
No, hold on. It was a Marsh Harbor, so Abaco Island. I think it's on
Okay.
Abaco. I think that's the name of the island.
I've been to Trunk Bay
Mm-hmm.
in St. John.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, just gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like there's so many places that live up to the hype.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
So when you got back, did you miss it? Was it weird, like reintegrating into like living on a house? And
Yes.
can only imagine.
Yeah. So it was weird like evolution because, right, like being 15 and my dad saying like you're going to leave all your friends and you're going to move onto a boat. At that point, like you still dial up internet. So, it was like pre-iPhone, but like you're going to lose access to internet and your friends and the world that you know.
Yeah.
That was really hard to get over as a teenage girl. But then at a certain point, I realized like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't even think about that because like the only thing I thought was, oh my gosh, she's going to live on a boat in the Caribbean. That's freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when you're a kid, when you're 15, 16, like that's the last thing you want to do is get away from your friends and be stuck in small quarters with your family.
Yeah. And then I think we came back to visit after being gone for almost a year. And it was really awkward to realize we had been through so many experiences at that point that I realized I had more in common with like my friends' parents and grandparents than I did with my teenage friends. And that was really hard because like I had seen stuff where I'm like, your stupid teenage drama like doesn't matter. Like there's like real stuff happening in the world.
Yeah.
So that was hard to realize that I didn't have as much in common with them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we actually did move back to the States, there was definitely a culture shock. And like, I still sometimes find, like, I forget what side of the road I have to drive on. Like, specifically when I pull out of a parking lot, occasionally there's still a moment where I'm like, oh my God, which side? Which side? Because all the islands were on different sides. And then, like, water usage. I still hear my dad is like anytime we only had 70 something gallons of fresh water on the boat. And that was what we had to drink, cook, and use.
Yeah.
And so like if you'd run the water too long, he'd be like, turn off the water. And I still hear that when I'm like doing dishes. I'm like, oh geez, I should turn off the water, conserve water.
I was going to say, do you yell that to your kids now? Turn on the water.
I do actually. Yes, I do. I do. So yeah, there was culture shock coming back.
Yeah. Well, I think that probably made you the awesome person that you are today. Just like seeing everything you saw.
It definitely opened my horizons because, and I think specifically for young people, if you've only been to this, living in the States, you don't realize that we don't live the way the rest of the world lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are the outlier. We are not the norm, but we're taught it's the norm. And so seeing third world countries, seeing poverty, seeing, immigrant communities that are not, it's tough to see. Yeah. It can be really tough. And so it was very humbling. It was very eye-opening. And yeah, I learned a lot from that.
Nice.
Mhm.
So, we're gonna get kind of into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
Taya, you told me once about an island boyfriend. Tell me about that.
Well, there was a few.
Oh.
I swear sometimes we left places because Dad was like, "Nope, this is getting no,
Getting too serious. Well, and then how old is your older sister?
Let's see. She would have been 17 to 19.
Okay, so yeah,
Mhm.
that's 15 to 19-year-old teenage
Mhm.
daughters. It's a scary time for a dad.
And honestly, we didn't go to certain islands because the safety issue of having, and
Hmm.
like my hair was naturally bright blonde,
Yeah.
and my sister had a bunch of freckles, which is a novelty, and so
Hmm.
we attracted some attention, and so there were some places for safety that Dad didn't have us go. But back to the boyfriend question, there was quite a few,
Hmm.
um, some more serious than others, and they all have a special place in my heart, except the one whose name I can't remember. I was talking to Jake about it last night, and I was like, I can't remember his name. I think it was Steven.
Oh, wow. You've been around the Caribbean block there, Taya.
I know. Well, um, I specifically remember him though because he had really big lips, and I was scared to kiss him, and I never did because I thought he was gonna like eat my face. Like it just felt I was
Gonna
really scared.
overwhelm you.
I was really scared. But yeah, I was given some very cool people
Nice.
who gave me nice presents.
I bet.
Yeah.
So was your first kiss in the Caribbean?
It was in Florida. Yeah,
Oh,
Jeshua Hoffman. Man.
Jeshua.
Jesh.
Wow,
I know.
that's
Yeah.
real biblical.
It's exactly biblical actually.
Uh,
Yeah, he was my boyfriend while we were working in the shipyard. Well, I met him in Florida, and there was a group of them. My sister had a boyfriend in that group too. And then yeah, it was like we were traveling down the Intercoastal Waterway in Florida, which is like a channel just inside land. And they drove like alongside with us and met us at night because they weren't like ready to say goodbye. And it
oh,
was on a dock in the moonlight, and it was beautiful.
that's sweet.
Yeah,
That's very sweet.
yeah,
Um, okay, if you guys have any other questions for Taya about this whole experience, I'm sure they do.
yeah,
Please comment them.
yeah. I'm all ears.
Okay, now we're gonna get back to some more frilly questions.
Okay,
What is the grossest thing you've ever eaten?
a chitin.
What the hell is that?
It is a crustacean, like a barn. It like adheres to a rock, and we were in the Bahamas, and the local was teaching us like if you're ever stranded
Mm-hmm.
ashore, these are things you can eat. And so like he
Oh.
talked about plants, and then he's like, here's a chitin, and so you popped it off the rock, and it was like biting into a slug,
And
and
you
it was
ate
so
it
salty.
raw?
Yeah, you popped it off the rock and ate it,
Oh my
and it
God,
was
that's
real. It was real
disgusting.
gross. Hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
On the other end, what is your favorite food? What could you eat every single day?
probably pizza.
Pizza?
Yeah, because even
Topping?
bad pizza is still good pizza to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your favorite toppings? What's your go-to?
I love a supreme. I really like pepperoni and black olive. I've been coming around though to Hawaiian with jalapenos. That's a jam.
You know, I've tried jalapenos on my pizza
Yeah.
recently, and yeah,
And
it's real
specifically
good.
with the pineapple, which I know is like very
Yes.
controversial, this
Uh-huh.
this topping, but yeah, I really like the jalapeno with the sweet pineapple.
Okay.
Hmm.
If you could be anybody's twin in the entire world,
Oh my
whose
God.
twin would you be?
Scarlett Johansson?
Really?
I don't know. She's the first person that popped into mind.
I mean, you almost are. You look like her.
Bless your heart.
You feel like you chose the person you look the most like.
No, I've been told I look like Ashley Tisdale, and I was like, oh, and then I looked her up, and I was like, oh,
Oh.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. That's a tough one. Jeez.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be frilly.
I guess Scarlett.
Okay.
That's who I'm going
What's the worst movie you've ever seen?
with. Oh my God. Actually, The Merry Gentleman, the new Chad Michael Murray one on Netflix, where he's
That bad, huh?
it's so bad. I couldn't even finish it bad.
Oh,
where
okay.
I'm like, I know it's supposed to be like cringy, kind of cute.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Even him
Mm,
dancing shirtless was not enough for me to be like,
too
I'm going to keep
cringe.
walking. Yeah. Mm-mm. Too
Yeah.
cringe.
Mm,
Nope.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Chad.
What is something you're weirdly proud of? I think I know the answer to this, but
Oh my God. Do you? I have to
yeah.
hear your answer. What am I proud of? I can cross my toes.
All of them?
No.
Just
And I do it unconsciously. I just brought it up to Jake and he's like, what? You weirdo. Like, what do you mean? You do what with your toes? I cross them. And it's like my
okay.
comfort thing. I don't know. Okay, what do you think I'm proud of? I guess my children. My
I
children.
said weirdly proud of.
Oh,
So
okay,
don't
okay, okay.
yeah, that wouldn't be a weird thing.
Um, oh, my retainers every night.
Yeah, you wear your
Yeah,
retainers every night.
yeah. I am not willing to go back to my janky teeth. Like I spent too much time to get my teeth nice. I did
Yeah.
Invisalign during COVID, and like I'm not playing that game. I
Yeah.
also now I am very proud of how much I floss because I
Oh,
was
good
not a
job. Yeah.
flosser. Yeah, pre Invisalign I was not, and now
Mm-hmm.
I really it satisfies my soul. If you're not
Invisalign got me
flossing,
to
get to
floss.
flossing, guys.
Yeah.
Save your
Invisalign got me to
gums.
floss too.
Yeah,
Also my dental hygienist.
best
God
friend.
bless her soul.
I
Yes. She
know.
really changed my life.
I specifically remember telling her too, like, you'll be so proud of me. I carry
Yeah,
flossers in my
I know.
purse. Flossing.
Okay, let's talk about Ecuador.
Okay,
So you lived in Ecuador for how long?
3 months.
And how old were you guys when you went?
Like 24, 23, 24.
Okay. Walk us through you get off the plane and you're hit with the smell of Ecuador. I've been to Peru, so I know what it smells like. Walk us through what Taya was thinking.
So I guess we need to back up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We had gone to Ecuador the year before to visit
Oh,
acquaintances,
okay.
people.
You'd already been there.
Yeah, we had gone for like, I don't know, 10 days or something.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, Jake was like, this is amazing. We should learn Spanish, save money, and retire down here to do like missionary work and live in Ecuador. And I was like, yeah, okay. So that's actually kind of when I reconnected with you, was when we learned Spanish.
Yeah.
And so then we saved up money, we worked our butts off, sold everything, and like had like 4 boxes at my parents' house or something. And then got on a plane and went to Ecuador, and we were picked up and by our friends, and we were going to like a 3-day assembly there. And I walked into the room in the home we were staying where I didn't know the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately was like, I've made a huge mistake. This is
That quickly, huh?
Oh, that quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I like brushed it off because I was like, no, it's just like you're in shock. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Did you know, sorry, one quick question. Did you
Uh-huh.
know how long you guys were going to stay for? Did you have a return ticket or you went with the thought of staying?
So in order to enter the country with your like tourist visa, you
Yeah.
have to have a return ticket.
Okay.
You have to have a ticket out. So the longest you can be there is 3 months.
Okay.
And so we did have a return flight 3 months later. But our intention was to invest money and buy property in the country to become citizens. So like we were serious about this. Like we were not coming home. We got certified as like TESOL instructors, like teaching English as a second language.
Uh-huh.
So we were going to teach online to like, I don't know, people in China who wanted to learn English or something. So we spent the weekend in the city, Guayaquil, and then we drove to our house. And again, I was like, oh God, this is not good. I fell into a really deep depression where I like didn't really speak. And I remember going to the grocery store in Guayaquil and like buying like so much wine, so many boxes of wine, and being like, and the people we were with was like, that's a lot of wine. I want to be like, go die. Because this is what
none of your business.
Yeah. And I quickly learned like, this is not the place for me. But then I brushed it off and I was like, no, you can do this. Like, Jake's really excited to be here. Like, you can make this work. And so we did go ahead and buy property. And then
I didn't know that.
Wow. Yeah, we were proud owners of a plot of land in Ecuador.
How much was it? Do you remember?
I want to say 3 grand, maybe 6 grand.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for
Nice.
a nice little square of
Lot.
land up there. Yeah, you could easily build on. And then it was probably 3 weeks before the end of our visa where we had started the paperwork to become citizens. And I had to come to Jesus with Jake. And I was like, listen, I do not want to be here. I got to go home. Like, if you want to come with me, I'd really like that.
Yeah.
But like,
I can't
I'm
stay
I'm
here.
going. I'm going. Like, I was prepared to leave without him.
So so 3 weeks like before you were set to come back home.
3 weeks before our visa was up, so we would have had to either.
So you were already there for 2 months. Did you
Mhm.
tell Jake at any point like I'm not loving this?
Oh yeah, like right at
Okay.
the beginning
Okay.
when I was in that depression, I told him like this is not working, and he's like, well, you gotta give it time, and we gotta try, and I was like, yeah. Like, side note to this, my doctor had changed my birth control right before I left because I couldn't get a year's supply, which is what I wanted. I couldn't get a year's supply of the one I was on,
Uh-huh.
and like jacking up my hormones was
Yeah. Bad
not a good idea.
idea.
So we spent the last 3 weeks, because now we didn't have to save money. We spent the last 3 weeks like gallivanting about the country, and I realized like we moved to the worst part of the country. There are other places that are great there, and we just didn't live there. And
Mhm.
there, okay, okay,
The cat is
the cat is
today.
climbing on me. Um, there was also like little things that were hard. Like, we didn't have access to a washer and dryer, so we had to
Oh.
hand wash all of our clothes. And because we lived
Uh-huh.
like right on the equator, it is not
S-
hot on the equator, like where we were on the coast. Like, it would low-lying clouds, and like it would be overcast. They would roll in and
Ooh.
just sit because the weather doesn't move like it does. And so like our clothes would mold on the line before they would dry.
Oh my
And like trying to hand wash jeans and sheets, are you kidding me? Towels? Oh, it was terrible. So,
Yeah. That's rough.
washing my clothes by hand for 3 months was like, I'm done.
I don't even think I could do that. I mean, I've
Mm,
I've lived in Peru and we didn't have a dryer, but we had a washer, and I think
yeah.
that alone will save you. Even though I
Yeah.
hated like starchy hard clothes
Yep.
that come off the line with spiders in
Yep.
them.
Oh,
Yeah,
ew. Ooh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I remember being on a Skype call with my sister and sitting like sideways on the couch and being like, oh, there's a baby scorpion right next to me. Like, ugh. Oh God. And some of the spiders. Yeah. Ugh, no. Nope.
So you stuck it out the 3 months.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. And then how did Jake take it when you were like, I'm going back with or without you?
He was really great about it. I think he realized that like this was not gonna go. And I apologized because he was pretty happy there. And he said that like
Oh,
had I not left, like he probably would still be there. But
yeah.
you know, we learned so much from that experience. And
Hmm.
while it felt like we were coming home with our tail between our legs, it also felt really good that we were brave and we tried.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And that you stuck it out the whole
mm,
3 months. You could have been like, and let's go back now.
yeah. Honestly, had it not cost money to change the ticket, I 100% would have.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie.
I
I
bet.
wanted to leave, like,
Yeah.
stat.
Yep.
But
I see that.
yeah, I think it was a valuable lesson and something I'm glad we went through that experience.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When I gotta say, when you guys came back, now that I'm thinking about it, I do. Well, I obviously remember when you left because we had been friends before that. We knew you were
Mhm.
going, and I was so sad when we had like a day or something. I remember you guys dropped us off at our house,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was the last time we were going to see you. And I was so sad you guys were leaving because I was like, they're just such a fun couple, and we're such good friends.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you told anybody you were coming back because it was an absolute surprise to see you. And I was so stoked. I was like, yes, she's back. Oh my God, my prayers haven't answered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't tell anybody. We called Jake's parents and they picked us up at the airport, and that's it.
Dang.
Like, we didn't tell a single person. So I got
Right.
to surprise all my family, which was fun.
Yeah.
It was
I
really
bet.
fun. I remember I knocked on my mom's like sliding glass door at like 6:15 in the morning or something. And she opens the door, she goes, "Oh my God, did you leave Jake?" I was like, "No, he's down, he's
here.
fine. He's fine." But
I left him in Ecuador. I couldn't. He wanted to stay. I couldn't hack
yeah.
it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting.
Yeah.
What What would you say is the biggest thing you learned from that experience?
That it's okay to try and have things fail. Like,
Awesome.
it does not make you a failure. It
Mm-hmm.
just means you tried.
Yes,
And
I
I
love
think
that.
yeah, there's always something to learn from that experience.
Mhm.
And yeah, I definitely felt like we had to eat crow when we came back. But you know what? People were gracious about it, and I said that like we learned a lot. It was humbling.
Mhm.
And I think I had this misconception that because I had lived, outside the country on the boat, that
Mhm.
I could hack it in a third world country.
Mhm.
And I learned no, I can't, because living on the boat was like an isolated little bubble. And
Yeah.
yes, while we were, in these countries that were really impoverished, we didn't live in them
Mhm.
versus like living on land in this apartment and like in a
Mhm.
tiny little seaside town. It was just a very different vibe. And I realized
Yeah.
like I can't, it's not for me.
And I feel like it was almost a flex back then to like live as humbly as possible.
Hmm.
And so I'm sure you guys went as cheap as possible, judging by the lack of washer and dryer. Uh, and going to a third world country is hard enough as it is, but then jumping into, yeah, like that kind of environment that
Hmm.
you're not used to, I can
Yeah.
only imagine.
Well, so the acquaintances that we went and visited prior, we lived like basically kind of in a little commune. Like so they lived in one
Mhm.
apartment, we lived in another apartment, and there was two other apartments with other Americans living in them. And I was under the misconception that we would be able to like use their washer and dryer because they had been there for I don't know, like 5 years at least,
Yeah.
and they were very settled. So they had a car and they had the lay of the land and they had these conveniences. They had internet set up at their house, which like we literally had to bribe people to try to get internet to our house. Like legitly, like we're slipping money across the counter. Like this is weird. Otherwise, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And so I think they were trying to like kind of show us like make us earn our
Right.
stripes kind of thing. We're like, you gotta do this on your own type thing. So yeah, when she's like, no, you can't use my washer and dryer. And I was like, the hell?
Really?
What? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And like we had to get our own internet and we had to, which I get because they had their reasons, I'm sure. But that was
They're Christianly reasons. I
uh-huh.
said that.
Mm-hmm. You said
Cool.
it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so rude. I can't imagine telling anybody, no, you can't use my washer. What?
Yeah.
Anyways, well, cool. You learned a lot.
I learned a
And
lot.
yeah,
I'm smarter for it.
yeah. And
Hmm.
you freaking did it. And
Yep.
you hated every minute of it, but
I
you
hated
did it
every minute.
anyway.
But I got some cool pictures and we did some cool things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
And the best part is you came back and
I did.
I get to see you all the time.
I know.
Yes. Okay. Moving on from Ecuador.
Hmm.
Okay, you've been to a lot of amazing places, but what is a dream place to visit that you've never been to?
I would love to go to that I've never been.
I know it's rough. You've been everywhere.
Well,
whore.
there's places I want.
No,
Boo,
not like
you
that.
whore.
You are.
I didn't like, Tahiti, Fiji, the Maldives, like any
Mhm.
of those would just be cool.
Yeah.
Switzerland is on my bucket list.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lola wants to go with you.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's saying.
Excuse me.
Okay, and what does a dream vacation for you look like? Like, does it look like doing nothing, laying on the beach, drinking a margarita? Don't die before we finish this
I'm
interview.
so sorry. A dream
Um,
vacation.
Yeah, like what would you wake up at what time? You do what?
So a dream vacation for me would look like going to an interesting place, sleeping in, which with the kids is not real.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go do something in
Would
the
you be with your kids? This is a dream vacation, Taya. You can say that it's
I would love to have them with us, I guess.
okay.
But not all the time. But
We won't judge you if you say you want to go solo.
we like to go and do things. So we're not the like lounge by the pool all day, start drinking at 10 a.m. Like that's not, we go crazy. So we like to go do things. So
Okay.
at least one excursion a day. And like we got to do Thailand for our first year anniversary and we went and like, went scuba diving one day and then we went rock climbing and then we went deep water soloing and then we rode an elephant. So like every day we had something we were doing, but it was only like half a day. And then the rest of the day we just got to go chill and explore. And that was kind of the perfect blend where you got to do stuff, but you also got to chill.
Cool.
So that's what I like to do. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is the hardest thing you've had to learn?
How to be a mom. It's tough.
Yeah.
There's no guidebook. And even though there's a crap ton of parenting books, there's no like, this is how Taya should be a parent.
This is what this child needs. And
yeah, oh my God, yeah, because both of them are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
Oh.
It's constant. I just was talking to Quinn about this. Like, I'm still learning. And he's like, wait, what? No one
Right.
knows it all? And I was like, no one knows it all. Mm-mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thanks.
Honestly. Your kids they're so funny. And like, this is one thing that I love about Jake and Taya's parenting, that they talk to their kids not like they're kids. Like, even when they were teeny tiny, you'd be like, well, like, this is just what happens. It was never like a babying them and like,
I know.
like, I know you're disappointed, but sometimes life is disappointing. Okay. Not all negative, but like, you just talk to them like they understood you. And I feel like they're smart for their age because of that.
Yeah, although sometimes they say things and they don't know what they're saying. Like yesterday, I told Jake, like, these kids, like, the caloric intake that they have at breakfast is insane. And Quinn comes in this morning, he's like, I ate my calories this morning. I was like, wait, what? What? Like, it's not at all what I meant, but
Right.
yeah, so they just say things and yeah, they're funny.
Yeah, they're very funny.
Yeah.
What book has been on your TBR for the longest?
Okay, what book has been on my TBR the longest? Probably The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen.
The Bridge Kingdom. Okay.
Yeah. Twisted Love has also been on there for a long time because I keep thinking my library has it on Libby. It's in Spanish, and I don't want to read it in Spanish.
Yes, I just looked at that and I was like, why is this in Spanish? I don't even want to read it in Spanish.
Yeah. The number of books I have downloaded and then been like, what the hell? This is not my language.
German.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so weird, though, that it's only available in Spanish or the audiobook.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know.
And a huge oversight.
Okay. Well, at this point in the video, we'd like to play a word association game.
Okay.
So I have come up with 20 words. And Taya's just going to say the first thing that comes to mind.
I feel like this is going to get me in trouble.
I hope it does.
I live for this.
Don't overthink it, okay?
All right.
Thigh.
Inner.
Sweet.
Tooth.
Fireworks.
Explosion.
Belly.
Teletubby.
That's a good one. They have bellies.
Yeah.
Moist.
Panties.
This with some friends the other day, how people don't like the word moist and then other people don't like panties.
So you combine
Moist panties.
Which I don't know. Can I say I used to have a lot in the Caribbean because it was so crave and hot?
Please don't.
Oh my God.
Or was it the boyfriends? Were they there?
No.
Okay.
Bless their hearts.
Beef.
Steak.
Mullet.
Ew.
Okay.
That's what I think. Ew.
Pocket.
Knife.
Toes.
I'm surprising myself with some toes. Flint. Curl. No, what's that called? Cross toes.
Okay. Mouse.
Nothing. House.
Okay. Don't overthink it. Rhythm.
Beat.
Baby.
Blues.
Stapler.
Ouch.
Refrigerator.
Food.
Feast.
More food.
Pickaxe.
Weapon. No.
Connection.
Connect 4.
The game. Okay. Bulb.
Light.
Legend.
Born. The book.
Balloon.
Helium.
Giraffe.
Long neck.
Oh. All right, good job. I'm so glad I had moist on that list.
Honestly, I never hear that word without in my head saying panties. Like I never hear
and now never will you.
That is my gift I have bequeathed to you.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Bequeath. That's a word. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of Getting to Know Taya. This
Yeah.
was very, very fun. And the next one will be getting to know me, and I'm scared.
I'm so excited. She's not ready.
Oh, God.
It's Heather unplugged. So
Oh,
yeah,
no.
make sure you watch.
All right. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.